morning. It's Tuesday. I'm on my way to work. I don't know where else I would be going at this point. It is cold outside, so I had to throw the scarf on at the last minute, and now I'm running a minute or two late. As far as my weekend, I had a very nice weekend. Once again, I did pretty much no work. I think yesterday evening I responded to some emails and just did some quick stuff, but nothing major. As you can hear, my voice has returned. I don't think it's 100% because every now and then it'll kind of go in and out, but I can at least talk in a normal tone. I think I am still going to use the microphone in my classroom. That's what I did on Friday. I went to work on Friday. It was a challenge because I did not really have all of my voice back, and I still felt kind of sick, but I just needed to go because I had been out for 2 days by that point, and 2 days being out is a lot, let alone 3. And I knew I wasn't going to have to do a whole lot of talking on Friday because they had PE, library, and I was going to let them finish watching a movie they had started. So I just decided to tough it out. But I was definitely not 100%. So I feel better today. The weekend was good because I didn't do any work, and it was like a nice balanced weekend where I got some stuff done. I got basically Saturday. What did I do on Saturday? I worked out. Oh, yeah, I worked out. I edited the vlog that went up on Sunday. And then I got to catch up with some friends I hadn't seen in a while for dinner. And then on Sunday, I spent the day at Knott's Berry Farm with my goddaughter because she will be moving to Northern California pretty soon. And that was the whole day. And then yesterday, I worked out and just took care of all the stuff I need to take care of to get ready for the week, put my laundry away, picked out my outfits. Genesis had an appointment at the vet yesterday to check, just a checkup. Her liver levels are still inconsistent, so she's on this prescription dog food, which is why if you follow me on Instagram, I had to buy a bag of dog food that was $90. It's a large bag, but that's still expensive. And that was it. Yesterday was just about me just making sure I was ready for the week. It was my self-care Monday. So I feel rested, I feel better, and I'm ready for this week. As far as today is concerned, I have to keep reminding myself that it's not Monday and we will not be getting out of school early. Today we're going to start giving them the interim assessment, which is a combination of them reading some passages, responding to those passages, and then having a writing prompt. And this year we've been given permission by the district to kind of use this interim assessment as a teaching tool to a certain extent. So my team and I have decided that today we're just going to read the passages with them and work on answering the short answer questions, because they're typically 3 questions or so. And then tomorrow we'll start working with them to prepare for the writing. However, we are not allowed to actually do the writing with them for obvious reasons. So that will be today and tomorrow, and I'm not sure how much time that's going to be taking. And then today, not hopefully, there will be no reason why, but today we are going to do another science lesson. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. I posted a question on Teachers Connect. I haven't gotten a chance to read anybody's responses about Martin Luther King Day, this activity. I had never heard of this egg activity in my life, and I think I saw a couple people post something about it on Friday, and I just blindly liked the photos and didn't really look too much into it. And then it just so happened that later on that day, Megan had shared a link of a blog post by I'm thinking it's another teacher, but this person is their focus is cultural proficiency in the classroom, and she was given reasons why she felt like the egg experiment should just kind of be abandoned for a Martin Luther King Day activity. And I read it, and she made some very valid points, valid enough for me to know that if I were to have ever thought to do that project, I would not do it. Because the basic premise is, I think the intent behind it is good. It's definitely like good intention. But her point was, in order for the lesson to have like salience to the kids, one of those eggs is used as like the normative egg. Like this one is the normal one, which typically would be the white egg because that is the egg that most kids are familiar with. And then that makes the brown egg like adhering to that norm. And some people may not agree with that at all. Some people may feel like the kids will get the premise of the lesson without having to do that. But she made some really good points. I will try and remember to link that blog post in the description box because it's definitely worth reading, even if you plan on doing it again. Just points to consider when you're kind of rolling out that lesson. So that was something that I posted on Teachers Connect, and I'm just curious to hear what other people think about that. So I don't even know how I got on that topic, but that was just something that was interesting to me over the weekend, over this Martin Luther King weekend. So I don't know if you can tell, but I'm at school, and I'm going to say bye-bye for now and check in with you guys at some point later on today. I have a feeling we're going to be on inclement weather because, maybe not, because it was a little windy by my house, and it's surprisingly not that windy over here, which is a shocker because the school becomes a wind tunnel on wind days. So maybe we won't be on inclement weather. So one way or another, I will be checking in with you guys, and so I will be talking to you then. So I'll see you then. What did you guys say? What is the main thing that you were supposed to learn from this passage? How to have a beetle as a pet. What kinds of things did you learn?
Beetles. If you keep a beetle as a pet, it will be like safe.
How will you make sure it's safe?
Like putting it in a glass box.
Mm-hmm. Can you put your chair down, please?
Keeping it there and then feeding it bananas or what?
Fruit. Okay, finish up your thoughts, Ted. By the time I get to 0, you should be in your seat. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Small glass box. Glass box. With dirt and twigs and these guys. With soil and places to hide. Yeah. Soil, dirt, and fresh plants, and places and just put plants. Just put plants. Okay. Soil.
Hey guys, this is a bad angle because guess who forgot her camera at home again? It's me. So I am recording on my iPhone. So again, I may not be looking in the right direction because I never know what to do with the phone. So my apologies if it looks like I'm looking off to the side. But it is lunchtime. It is about 12:15 to be exact. So far, all I've really completed or accomplished with my class today is we went over the first part of the interim assessment that I had to give, in addition to giving them some time to work on their personalized iReady lessons. Going over the interim assessment ended up taking much more time than I thought it would, but that is perfectly fine. It took more time because I tried to be extremely thorough about just teaching them how to navigate through tests like this, how to read passages, defining things like what does the word source mean, and as opposed to me just kind of standing in front of the classroom and then reading the passages and then like leading the discussion on what the correct answer should be, what I did was I read the passages. Well, let me back up. Hold on. Before we even answered the questions, we read the directions, analyzed the directions, skimmed through the 2 sources, just briefly talked about just based on the title of the sources and the skimming of the source, what were we going to learn from each source. So for example, the first source, we skimmed through it and it was just basically teaching us about the different types of beetles and where they live and what they eat. And we were able to gather that just by skimming the source with the headings because it was informational text and by using the title. The second source was about having beetles as pets. And so we skimmed that source. I asked them, what do you think we're going to be learning from this source? They were able to identify things that you need to keep in mind if you want to keep a beetle as a pet. So we skimmed the sources, analyzed them, based on just what we had skimmed, and then we skimmed through the questions so that we would be aware of like, these are the things we need to be prepared to answer afterwards. Then we went ahead and read the sources. I read it to them, they followed along, and then we worked on the 3 questions that went with the sources. And so when they were answering questions, I would read the question out loud, really making sure they understood everything that the question was asking. Because I know in my experience, students will answer part of a question, but then not the other part. And that could be the difference between someone being considered as being on grade level versus not. So for example, one of the questions was a short answer response where they had to read something that was stated in one of the passages and explain what they thought that meant in their own words, and then find a supporting detail from each of the 2 sources or each of the 2 passages to support their explanation. I have a total of 6 table groups, and they worked together as a group to complete that. And 5 out of the 6 table groups gave me text evidence to support what their explanation was saying, but they never gave the explanation. So just kind of talking through things like that and those kinds of common mistakes. So it took us a while, which is fine as far as I'm concerned. So we finished that at about 11:30. We had to obviously recess in there in between that. And then I pulled very quickly one Wonders group to just review the reading I had assigned. I'm gonna wrap things up with them after lunch and then pull the remaining groups. And then I'm gonna have to try and squeeze in math and science. One of those might be going out today, and if anything, I'll probably just bump science forward. So I feel good about it. I have been using this classroom microphone that we all have at my school site, just so that I'm not having to talk extremely loud, because even though my voice is much better and I feel much better, I do still feel like it's strained a little bit, because I'm using it so much. And then we went to lunch. Just before I came back to my classroom to have my lunch, I did stop by my principal's office and let her know verbally that I did officially put in for a transfer request, and that I put 2 middle schools and 1 elementary school. Even though her and I have discussed this over the past year or so, and she knows going to middle school is something that I'm interested in doing, I still wanted her to know officially that I did send out the paperwork and it is in motion. And she thanked me for doing that. She was very supportive and encouraging, but did make a point to say, you know, she appreciates me telling her, because her point was it avoids having hurt feelings. So, which I totally get, because they're gonna know one way or another. Like they're gonna find out when I'm scheduled for an interview, and the district contacts them to let them know you have teachers requesting to transfer out. Just as they would let them know you have teachers requesting to transfer in. So just a quick tip for any of you out there, if you're ever looking to transfer or trying to make a change, then you definitely want to give your principal like the courtesy of just letting them know that that's what your intentions are. You don't have to go into extreme detail as to why, if they may be some of that reason, but just kind of letting them know out of courtesy goes a long way. So after that, I came back to my room. I ate some leftovers that my mom dropped off. I am currently watching a YouTube video from a girl. I don't know if I've ever mentioned her. She's like 22, maybe. And she's in law school. Her name, I don't even know her name, actually. But the name of her channel is Lipstick and Lattes, and I just find her to be very entertaining. Probably because I wanted to be a lawyer and I'm just curious to see what law school is like. But she also has like a very dry sense of humor, which I relate to. So I'm just eating, I just finished eating and I'm watching that. And I have about 15 minutes left, so I might try and like do some work, but I probably won't. But I just wanted to check in, let you know about my conversation with my principal and what I chose to do and how that went with the interim assessment. I think it went really well. I feel like the kids got a lot out of all the talking about it and dissecting of it that we did, so I feel good about that. But I will check in with you after school, probably on my phone again since I don't have my camera, but that's it. So I will talk to you then. Bye. Hi guys, I'm actually at home. Obviously it is 5:30 and I'm just checking in to close the vlog for the day. As far as the rest of the day, at lunchtime, I think I was contemplating what exactly I was going to be doing for the rest of the day because we were running short on time. So what I ended up deciding to do is we did math. However, I did not teach a full-blown math lesson because we are in chapter 7 of Go Math, which is just division, and each lesson is like dividing by 2, dividing by 5. And at this point, we're on dividing by 9. And the purpose of each lesson is really just to review the different strategies we taught. So I told the kids, I'm not going to teach a lesson. We did math rotations, and I said, when I pull your group to the back, that will be when I take the time to kind of review the strategies with you, and then we'll go from there. So we did math. I finished pulling small groups for the day. That went really well. We are working on identifying similes in our reading and theme. Those are the 2 skills that we're working on. They're getting very good with identifying a simile and being able to identify what 2 things are being compared and what the author is trying to convey with that simile that they're using. So one of the similes in one of the groups was something like the animal's eyes were wild like fire or something like that. It was the animal's eyes being compared to fire. So I asked them what 2 things are being compared. They were able to tell me that. And then I said, what is the author trying to say? So most groups, all the groups, because there's two groups that read that same book, said that the animal's eyes were fierce and that the animal was ferocious. So I was pleased with that. I think starting tomorrow, we're going to transition into writing. We'll continue to do small groups because I need to really practice some more of the comprehension skill, because identifying the theme of a story has always been a challenge for any class that I've taught. So I'm at home. I'm going to shower. I'm going to cook. I am trying to turn over a new leaf, which is I am going to try and make sure I have my meals eaten 2 hours before going to bed. I tend to eat dinner very late. Oftentimes that leads me to eat dinner and then go to bed, you know, sooner than I should thereafter. I don't eat dinner and then go right to bed, but I might be eating dinner sometimes at like 8 o'clock, and I go to bed at 9:30 on average, and I'm trying to be a little bit better. So I'm gonna shower, put my pajamas on, and go cook, and then maybe grade some science. And I also bought this new scarf just now. I realized what's missing from my wardrobe is a black infinity scarf, and I need it this week because it is windy and cold. So that is it for Tuesday. I will see you guys tomorrow. It's 9, no, yeah, it is 9:30, and I've just had the most unproductive, I'm gonna say 45 minutes or so of my life. It feels like we are still taking the interim assessment. We're working on part 2 where the kids are writing an opinion piece based on the passages we read yesterday. And I have several kids who had some sort of technical issue. One girl, the buttons on the website disappeared for her, so she couldn't progress any further with the test. Another student, my new student, his username and ID was all jacked up, for lack of better term. And then we don't have our tech person anymore because he is now officially student teaching, so he is no longer available to be just on call the way that he has been. So I had to call the office. The principal had to come down. She tried to figure things out. It just really ruined the schedule that I had for myself. So what was supposed to happen is we were supposed to, hi, you can come in. Or I'll come over in a second. That's Jenny peek spying on something in my classroom. So what was supposed to happen is we were supposed to talk about the writing and then go to PE, and all we basically did was log into the system and go to PE. So we haven't even oh no, I take that back. We discussed what opinion writing was about. We refreshed with the things that we already knew, but it by no means is as far as I needed to get. So I had to warn the kids because they really like science. Like, they really get excited when we do one of those science lessons. So I had to warn them, we will probably not be getting to science today because I have to teach math because I have a school psychologist coming to observe during that particular time of day. But that's the thing with these tests occurring online. It's great, but every now and then you have like these technical issues and you can't move forward until the technical issues are resolved. And the fact that we're taking this as a whole group, everybody has to be on the same page. And then sure enough, when I'm like having them move their screen forward to the next segment, I had 2 students say, a day later that they didn't finish segment 1. So, needless to say, my blood pressure was high just now. Hey guys, it's almost 4:30. I actually think I'm gonna be going home pretty soon, and I just realized I didn't correct or collect last night's math homework. Silly me. I had duty after school, and then I had a great little chair meeting after that, and I've been back in my classroom maybe for about 20 minutes or so. I will say today was one of those days where all in all, I can just say it was a good day. Things didn't go perfectly, as noted by my series of technical difficulties while we were taking our interim assessment, but after that was squared away, things went pretty well. What I ended up deciding to do, I can't remember if I was telling you I was debating on how to run the rest of my day, is I think I was talking about the math lesson. I ended up deciding to teach the math lesson in small group formats, which allowed me to do rotations, which the kids really liked. And the way I did it is when I called a group back, I just taught the lesson in a small group environment. Because technically the math lesson was not introducing anything new. There was no new concept, no new strategy to the math, and the actual math involved was not super strenuous. The hardest part about the lesson was the fact that these were word problems that required 2 steps, and the hard part was identifying what was the first step that needed to be done in order to successfully solve the problem. So I pulled all the groups back. And lucky for them, most of them got all their math homework done in the course of me working with them in small group and what I assigned to them for at their seat work. So for at their seat, I assigned the back side of their homework page because the back side is always spiral review. And they just really thought they had gotten away with so much today, which in some ways they did, but I told them don't get too excited because that's not gonna happen very often. So we did that. Okay. I took a pause because I had to get my thoughts together as to what I wanted to share with you. So that's how I taught math. It worked out really well, and so we moved on. And then the next thing we worked on was just continuing to prepare for the interim assessment that we're taking as a whole group, but then they're gonna be writing the written portion of the assessment on their own. And then I wanted to finally show you how most of these snow globes turned out. There's about 4 that are in process, not totally done. And this template and the way I put it together came from, I think it was Teach, Create, Motivate. So here they are. I like the way they came out. They came out pretty cute. I can't get too close because they're images of some of my students. And then that's the anchor chart that we had done together when we were brainstorming ideas for the story. I really like how it came out. I had to remove some of the I had to remove all the bows from my bulletin board. If you watch my classroom tour video, you know that I clipped the student work with clothespins that have these little gray ribbons. But I had to take those down because I needed more space for the, what am I trying to say? For the snow globe part. So I'm gonna show you Brendan's, which is Jenny's son, because I know she's fine with that. So here is his. So in Teach, Create, Motivate, these are just plastic bowls that I ordered off of Amazon. This is obviously construction paper. You take a picture of them. The picture actually came out bigger than I intended, but I actually like it this big. And then you just put some snow in it and they decorate the background. And you just tell them that the picture that they pose for needs to somehow relate to a scene in the story. And then they wrote a very brief story here. And then that's it. So they enjoyed the activity. I think it looks cute on the wall. I'm gonna keep this up for a while because it's winter themed. And that is why I'm also keeping up the lights in the window and the snowflakes, because it's not Christmas decorations, it's winter decorations, and we're still in the middle of winter. So that is the gist of my day. I'm gonna go to my desk, clean it up, finish my snack. In case you're wondering, my afternoon snack is sliced Pink Lady apples and this little tiny snack cheese that is really good. So that's what's up. That's what I'm doing. Then I'm gonna go home and find something to keep myself busy there. So I will more than likely be talking to you guys tomorrow. So I will see you when I see you. There was one other thing I wanted to share with you guys. I did my outfit of the day on Insta stories this morning, and then I posted about these shoes that I'm wearing today on Instagram. I'm probably gonna go home and buy another pair because I think they came in 2 different colors, but they are these shoes here. They are by Steve Madden, and these are like a gray color. They're suede, maybe fake suede, I don't even know, but they are extremely comfortable. They are probably the most comfortable pair of flats I've ever worn. So if you're looking for some great flats, I highly recommend them. If I can go home and find them, I will link them in the description box, and you should get a pair. I think I ordered mine a size bigger because somewhere it said they ran small, but very comfortable. They look great, they feel great. Go out and get yourself some. Hello everyone, I'm getting ready to go home and it's not even 4:30 yet, but I wanted to check in. This is the first time I'm checking in today because nothing really happened today. I am tired, literally, from watching my kids finish up their interim assessment today. So today was the day that they really were on their own. They had to do some writing. I'm gonna show you some of the scaffolding that I did. And I'm not gonna go into too much detail because it is an interim assessment and I don't wanna like be sued by some testing company. But I think, I don't recall, earlier in the week I said this, and if I didn't, I'm saying it now. If I did, sorry for the redundancy. But basically they had to read 2 informational sources, answer about 3 questions based on those sources, and I made sure to call them sources as frequent as possible because I want the kids to know that sometimes passages are referred to as sources. So we read the 2 sources together, discussed the answers together, answered them together, and then we moved on to the second part of the assessment, which involves them then taking the information from those sources and doing some sort of writing activity with them. They are given the prompt and then they have to kind of go from there. And the prompt that they were given was an opinion piece. And so what we did together was we looked at 2 sides of this opinion, and I'm purposely not saying what the opinion had to be about just to be on the safe side, but they had to do opinion writing, and there were 2 sides to it. And so what we did first is we first looked at our 2 sources and pulled out details we would use to support side A of the issue that we were writing about. And then today we pulled details from the sources that would support the opposing side of the opinion that we had to share, or they had to share in their writing. And then after we did that, we brainstormed some transitional words that would be good for opinion writing. And I put all that on the board. I think I can show you this. Let's cross our fingers that LaTanya doesn't get sued or locked up. So these were the details that we pulled for side A of the argument, or side A of the opinion piece, and these were the details we pulled for the opposing view. And then we just brainstormed very quickly some words that would be good to use as transitions or transitional phrases for opinion writing. I also talked about, or we also reviewed, because we've talked about this before, what is the purpose of opinion writing? What are you supposed to do? We really looked at the prompt very closely. We highlighted the directions, pulled out like the main things they needed to make sure they remembered when writing this on their own. And then after we did all of that, they were just kind of left to their own devices. Now, it didn't go as smooth as I would like, because even with all of this, like we've literally been preparing for this writing. I'm gonna put you guys down because my hand is hurting, or my arm is hurting. We've literally been preparing for this writing for the past day and a half. And then when they were sat down, or they sat down to write, and we did a very good job of talking about the fact that the directions specifically say their writing has to be multiple paragraphs. And we talked about how we can format it so that it was more than 1 paragraph and all of that. And then I had a couple kids tell me they were done, and I happened to glance at their computer, and it was certainly not multiple paragraphs. It was just 1 paragraph. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. I think what ends up happening is they submit the test. Everyone has to be done by tomorrow. We submit the test, and then eventually the district gives us some random names in our grade level where we read their written response and kind of use that to guide what we need to be doing better as a district, or what instructional pieces are we missing as a team going forward. So we that was the bulk of the day. It's just getting them ready for that and then giving them the time they needed to get that done. And then all I was able to do after that was Pool Wonders small groups, which is fine. I knew I wasn't going to teach math today. I didn't even put that on the board. The day pretty much went the way that I thought it was going to go. So there was not much for me to report. I will share this. I think I shared this book last year, but I think I did it on Instagram. I don't think I did it in a vlog. Since we're studying similes as our vocabulary skill, the book that I read yesterday and shared on Instagram is this one here, Crazy as a Fox. The kids really, really liked this book. And what was nice about this book is this book explains that similes are oftentimes idioms, and then it goes on to explain that idioms are sayings that don't mean what they literally say, but they do have meaning. So I used, you know, the one "it's raining cats and dogs" to say we know it doesn't literally mean it's raining cats and dogs, but when somebody hears that, they know it means it's raining really hard outside. So since it kind of touched on what idioms are, I decided to read this book, The Bad Seed, and told them that this is a very common idiom, and I explained to them what it means when someone says, oh, that person is a bad seed. And then we read it. I really like that book because it's just really cute, but there are two lessons, in my opinion, or two themes or thoughts that one can pull from that book. And since our comprehension skill is identifying the theme of the story, I took the opportunity to kind of discuss with the class what they thought the theme was. They were able to pick up on the first one, which is basically saying, you know, you can change. Like if you're bad or you're making poor choices or you're not doing things right in life, you can always believe in yourself and change and make things better. And everyone kind of picked up on some aspect of that. The second one they couldn't really identify, which I get because it's a little bit maybe above a third grader's head. So I told them eventually, I said the second theme in that book to me is that let me back up. The seed in the book, the bad seed, was not always a bad seed, and he goes on, or she goes on, I don't know if the seed is male or female. The seed goes on to explain that they weren't always this way. They used to live very happily on their sunflower, and then one day the sunflower drooped, the seeds fell out of the sunflower. Looking at the illustrations, you know that they were harvested and then put into a sunflower seed bag, and this one seed survived being eaten by a person because that person spit out the shells and happened to spit out this full seed. And after that happened, the seed decided it was going to be bad. And it eventually decides near the end of the book it no longer wants to be bad, and it's going to turn over a new leaf and be good again. So I told the kids the other message in it, I said, has nothing to do with the seed itself and someone deciding they want to make a change. I said the other message is for those people that are around people who are considered to be bad seeds. And the message is that the people that you think are bad seeds, a lot of times something may have happened to them that is causing them to act the way that you see them acting. They weren't born that way. They didn't always be that way. They may have just had something very traumatic or sad or upsetting happen to them, and that happens to be how they're coping with it at that time. Not that it's right, but that it just could be that way. So we talked about that, and so I said, so anytime you're around someone that you think is just mean or rude and nasty, maybe think to yourself or remind yourself, you know what, they weren't always this way, and maybe something bad has really happened, and maybe they're going through something, and you know, try and give them a little leeway, just kind of keeping that in mind. So that book is one of my favorites for one of those reasons, because I do like that message. But that is pretty much what I did today. I am heading home. I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna try and start lesson planning for next week. I'm partially planned, so that's good. I'm trying to just get ahead of the game so that I can continue to go home on the weekends and really not do much in regards to schoolwork. So that is gonna be my motivator. The Blue Apron meal that I'm gonna be cooking tonight is nice and short. I think it's gonna be like 15 to 25 minutes. I don't know if I'll be walking the dogs because it's been pretty windy, and it just depends on if the wind has died down. But I certainly wanted to say hello to you guys today. I didn't want to go a day without talking to you guys. I hope everything is well, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Good evening, you guys. It is Friday at about 5:30. I am clearly not in my classroom. I'm sitting on the floor of my bedroom, and I wanted to close out the vlog for the week. No. Sorry, talking to my mom's dog, Riley. And this little piece is not going to be related to teaching at all. Overall, I had a good day today. It's Friday. Fridays are always very busy and hectic for me because I have PE and library, so that's almost 2 hours of class time that I lose. But in the midst of all that, I was still able to pull my small groups and wonders and do math rotation, so that's a success for me. But I just wanted to touch base really quickly and check in with you guys about Genesis. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I posted a story yesterday because I ended up taking her to the vet at the last minute to see if they could do a urine analysis on her, because since earlier this week, sorry, my nose has been running. Since earlier this week, I can tell that she's not physically comfortable. It's like she cannot seem to find a way to lay down and be comfortable. She has not wanted to be held or touched, and she's been using the bathroom a little bit more frequently than normal. Like she can't hold, like her bladder can't hold. And so when I came home yesterday, I decided to Google, why is my dog peeing so much? And one of the things it said is it could be a lot of things, but it could be a sign of liver failure or kidney failure. For the past few months, Genesis has had these elevated liver levels. So of course, when I read that, I panicked because I thought, oh my God, her liver is failing her and my dog is dying, which is very scary for me to think. Basically, Genesis is the equivalent of my child, my baby. I've had her since she was a puppy. I went and handpicked her from the litter, and she's going to be 14 in July. So she is very important to me. And overall, I know that she's getting old, but I just want to make sure she's as happy and healthy as can be. I don't think that she's unhealthy or unhappy right now, but I just really want her to feel good and be comfortable. So I took her to the vet, and in the process of talking about everything that's been going on, because she has sinus issues, she has arthritis, she has these elevated liver levels, I'm giving her like 5 medications at once. We think that she has like a slipped disc, and that might be what's causing her to not be able to like hold her bladder for as long as normal, because her muscle, like she can't contract her muscles basically. So at face value, sorry you guys, she seems to be doing fine. But like if you just saw her standing, you wouldn't know that anything's wrong. But you know, she's just uncomfortable and it makes me feel bad. And what's worse, the worst part about all of this is that all these ailments that she's dealing with, the sinus issues that cause her to sneeze and try and clear her nasal passage all the time, and then since the beginning of the week, sorry, not being able to like get comfortable. She's perpetually moving around or walking around or jingling around, or she's in the middle of a sneeze or a clearing of her throat, and it's very disruptive at night. So now we're at the place where for the most part she spends most of the night sleeping downstairs, and that just makes me feel sad and guilty, and I feel bad for her. And in the midst of all this, I want to comfort her and hold her and touch her, but she won't really let me touch her because I think me touching her actually hurts her right now. So it's just been rough. And coming home is kind of stressful because, you know, it's just hard looking at your pet in pain. And I know she's just a dog, and I know she's not a kid, but for me, she is like my kid. So I wanted to see if I can show her to you, but she's under the bed. And she probably won't come out, but that's really where she's been spending most of her time lately. For some reason, that seems to be the most comfortable place for her to lay. I almost feel like she lays there because she doesn't want me to be around her, which makes me feel rejected. But that's a whole nother story. So I will keep you guys posted. An aging pet and caring for an aging pet that is like your little heart is just very overwhelming and difficult. And that's kind of what I was saying in my Insta story last night. And I don't know if you guys could tell, was like on the brink of like crying about it because it's that stressful and upsetting to me. And I feel like it would be less stressful and upsetting if I had someone to help me with it. But I just feel like I'm all on my own with it. Hold on a second. I don't know. Someone is calling from a number that I don't recognize, and I don't answer the phone in those situations. Do you guys do that? If you don't know the number, do you answer? I don't. So that's it. I will keep you guys posted. so far I've been able to come home again. Once again, I don't have any teaching work that I plan on doing. I'm lesson plan for next week and even started planning the week thereafter. So hopefully I can keep up with that trend. There are a couple of things I might look at tonight just to, because I want to kind of figure out a way to weave growth mindset into Black History Month, and we're going to start teaching or learning fractions in the next chapter. And there's this product that I saw from Jennifer from Glitter and Jams that I kind of have been wanting to see if I can kind of maybe with my team do a little classroom makeover to introduce fractions. So I might be looking at that. But aside from that, I'm gonna eat some leftovers. I might get myself some ice cream because I feel like I had a really good week and I just want some. And I'm just gonna relax tonight. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up because it really does help other people to see it. And if you haven't, subscribe. And if you haven't, make a comment. I like to chat with you guys. And aside from that, I hope everything is good, and I will talk to you guys in the next vlog. See you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.